Well, everything's gone to plan so far. I've managed to get both the tracks in. All I've got to do is to finish off this filling in underneath this section where it curves here. I've got the loading stage back in and that's looking good. We've even got a little man there waiting to do his work. So I've got both lines in here now, and I think I'm actually ready now to start producing the brand new old water tower that's going to go somewhere in this area here. So this is the prototype, remember. It's still upside down and it's still full of all the old vegetation that I took out from the previous video. So I'm quite pleased with how that turned out actually, and I'm really glad that I decided to do it now. So let's move onwards now and let's start to construct the new water tower. After a lot of soul searching and a certain amount of research, I found this view from 1960 of the coaling stage. Now, as you can see, it was out of use by this time because the tracks have gone to it, there's no line to it. But if you look where the black arrow is, I've worked out that is where the coal wagons went into. And if you look on the right hand side of the coaling facilities there, you'll see there's a gap, there's an opening, there's a door there. And I have worked out that this is where the engines were actually loaded with coal. That's where the red arrow is. So I finally worked it out, and so the engines would go onto this line here, which runs down the side of this coaling tower, and they would park there and they would get loaded with coal, and there's also a water chute there, so they would take on water and coal at the same time. And it's taken me a long time to work that out, but I'm pretty convinced that's how it worked. So this is what I'm about to start to build now. So that's something that we can really look forward to now. Now we come to building the actual water tower. So what I've done, I've taken the development of the original paper one, and what I'm going to do now is transfer this onto cardboard, and then when it's done in cardboard, what we're going to do is to glue it all together and we'll take it from there. Just to save a little bit of time and to save some monotony, you've seen it before. I've done tutorials before showing how to make cardboard models, so if you want to look it up, they're all in the archives there. But just to save the time now, I'm going to spare you that little escapade, and I'm going to go into my rapid time. So those of you who watch on a regular basis, you'll know what's coming. So here we go, rapid time, off we go. Now I've got the development cut out, the next thing is to glue it all together, and that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to have to be very patient with this and do it in sections and just glue it together and just wait, that's all. We're in no rush, are we? We've got lots of time, so I've got to get some weight on this now. Here we go, the old trusty flat iron again. Worth its weight in gold, that. Just make sure I got it in the right place first, and it's not going to glue itself down to that. There we go, got to wait for that to set now. Now that the first bit is set, let's take a look at it. And stuck down a little bit to the table there, but that's okay. Okay, that's the first bit done. Now we've got to get this next little bit done here. We're getting there slowly but surely. So that's the next little bit to glue up. So if I can get I might have to put a little bit of tape on that one, I think, because the old flat iron's not going to work with that. So let's get some glue on here, and I'm going to tape it up. A little bit of tape ready there. Get that lined up there and get some tape around it. In fact, if I can put that on there, I can stick the second bit of tape down when I do it. So there we go. That's the first bit. And a little bit more tape down at the bottom there. Oh, look what's happened, we're an end missing. Well, how did that happen? That I don't know. I'm sure I had that end sorted out. Oh well, we'll have to put another end on, won't we? We'll have to make another end. Okay, so I'll stick that down first. Oh, you know why? It's the wrong way around. That's there isn't an end missing at all. Silly me. That's how it goes. There's no bottom on it, is there? It's not an end. Okay, so here we go again. More glue and more tape. 2 pieces. Get the glue in there. I'm looking forward to getting this finished now. I'll get the tape on there now. Make sure you get it lined up correctly. That's pretty good. And we'll just hold that in place until it sets, and I can take that tape off again. So there, I've got it now. I've got the main section of it glued up, and then I need to cut out the openings afterwards. So I'm going to leave that now to set. And then when it's set, the next part of the job is to cut this out. And then I forgot to mention, I've made this a little bit higher than it should be, simply because when I looked at the plans and I looked at the actual water tower itself, it's a raised tower, and there's like a big camber on here as well. So I'm going to compensate for that. So I've made it, I think I made it 5 or 10 millimeters higher than it should be. But that'll come off. I'll cut it off down to the shape of the road when I get it sorted out. So we're almost there now. Now that I've got the water tower assembled, and it's pretty sturdy now, what I did was I took a locomotive on a piece of track here, and I checked it for the height, and obviously allowed for the camber on the road that's going to go through there. So I allowed for that just to check that the measurements were right. I also took the width of a coal wagon, and I measured the height of a coal wagon too, including the track, to give me this cutout here that I'm going to take out for the section that's going to run through there. So I can disperse with this for a moment, and I can make a start on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away here with a knife carefully. Always be careful when you're using a knife. I'm going to take out this whole section here, and then I'm going to build it up with a little bit of balsa wood afterwards. That's one side off, and I did this as well as I could to the scale that I'm using. So now I've got that. This is going to be filled in again after, remember, it's going to be filled in, but the brickwork is recessed, so I've got to compensate for that. So I'm going to do the same at the back now, and when I looked at the drawing, there is a door in the back of this. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm just going to cut out this section here. I hope you can see this. It's not easy to film it and give you access to everything at the same time. So this is going to come off here. And this part is going to come off here. Obviously that's not going to be big enough now, because I need to put a piece of balsa wood inside here and inside here. So this needs to be the width of 2 pieces of balsa wood longer, so it can go to the back of the balsa wood there and the back of the balsa wood there. So I've got to make a new one for that and a new one for that. So I'll come back when I've got that done. So that's where we're at the moment. This is just a reminder of what I'm trying to reproduce here now. So this is the water tower that I'm going to recreate. I do have the main structure done now, as you can see, and this is the setback for the brickwork. This is going to be filled in. So this is the front section. This is the side section, which I haven't done yet. This is actually not going to be seen, this, but I'm going to do a good job of it anyway. I'm going to paint inside black, and I'm going to have a shutter, roller shutter halfway down to there. At the back edge you can see we've got the recess here for the brickwork, and this is where the door is going to go. Also there'll be a flight of stairs from the bottom of the door down to the floor, but I can't do that yet because I don't know how far it is, because the road that it sits on is quite a big camber. And this is the other side, which is just going to be brickwork. So I've now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover that now in stone, sorry, not in stone. I'm going to cover it now in the brickwork so that it matches up with what we've got. And afterwards I've got to build on top, I've got to build the water tower. So this is just the bottom structure first of all. I'm going to cover that now. I'm not going to show you how I do it because I've done these tutorials before about covering models with brickwork and stonework. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll show you what it looks like when I've got the final brickwork all done. I now have the water tower covered with the brickwork. have to look very close to see it, but that's to scale. So I've got that side, this side looks a little bit messy on the side here, but I'll sort that out later. And this side, I have a little bit of glue stains there, but I don't worry about stuff like that because it gives it a little bit of age. Now you can see the construction process that I had to go through here. All these little bits of balsa wood had to be cut, and all had to be glued on. It was quite tricky really holding it down while the glue set, but I got there in the end. So the next stage now will be to put the lintels in. There's some lintels going to go over all these openings, and this is going to be covered up with corrugated iron over half of this opening. And then, as I said, this part here is going to have a roller shutter that comes round probably 3/4 of the way down. And this side, this is just going to be brick again here, so I forgot to do that one, but that's not a problem. And also the lintel to go on. And then when it's all done, I've just got to put the water tower on the top, and then we're ready to put it in place. Before I put the water tower in place now, I have to build up this area around here. I'm going to make it camber like it does. Obviously there was a raised platform here, went through the old water tower, and it gave it a higher elevation than this line here. Right, so what I'm going to do is going to build up that area, and I'll show you the photographs of what I'm trying to recreate. And I'm going to do this slowly, so I'll just be building it up by gluing basically cardboard on it and building it up until I get the right shape. And I can always fill it in with a little bit of paper mache or something afterwards. So I'll show you that as it develops as well. This shot here shows you the amount of build up I've got to do. You see how high this is in comparison to this line? So I'm going to build up that area this much, and then I will have to scribe this water tower to fit in with the land after I've done it. So I'll show you how to do that as well.